Alrighty guys, what's going on everybody? Welcome back here to another live stream, my friends. Hope everyone's having a fantastic day today. Happy Saturday. Hope everyone's having a good weekend. Let me go ahead and get everything all set up here. I need to plug in my phone real quickly. But anyways, y'all, hope you guys are doing good. Hope everyone is getting prepared for Halloween and all of that fun stuff. Here, we're going to go ahead and switch on over here. I did forget to do my transitions. That's something I've been working on. I've been working on getting everything together here. But what's up, guys? Hope everyone's doing good. Let's see. Chris, right off the bat, my man here coming in with a $5 super chat. Thank you, dude. I appreciate that. We're going to pause this here. Say, it's been so dry here in Oklahoma. We'll take any kind of rain. I honestly understand that completely. It has been very dry. Matter of fact, let me bring up the drought monitor. That, we looked at it the other day, but I think we have a new update that just came out. Yeah, the 24th. We just have a brand new update. We're gonna hop on over to that real quickly. So let's go ahead and full screen this. I know it doesn't fully fit the screen. Like I said, this is still kind of a work in progress. I'm trying to get up my new scenes going and stuff like that. But I did add the chat and everything like that. So, oh, there's echo. Is there echo? Oh. Okay, we're good. Thank y'all for pointing that out. I did see that. For some reason, it was picking it up on my webcam, too. Thank y'all. Appreciate it. Also, I kind of gotten into my Halloween candy a little early. I really shouldn't have, but, it's just... Whenever you get Halloween candy, it just kind of sits there and it just, taunts you. It's like... So, I've been kind of bad about that. Anyways, but yeah, no, I do see what you mean. Out there, really a lot of the country, I mean, a good part of the country is currently dry. The only areas that's really noticeably not as dry is places out there towards like Florida, where those hurricanes hit. You can see kind of where the path of Helene was in terms of the storm. You can kind of see that there's just this cutout that basically is there where the hurricane did. Honestly, this hurricane brought some rain here to these regions that they would typically, or more rain than they would typically see in a whole month. There has been a lot of rain out there from that storm. So yeah, there's the drought monitor. Just want to go ahead and pull it up. But yeah, these areas here, we're thinking like Oklahoma, Texas, possibly areas more towards the Midwest too regarding severe weather. Also want to go ahead and mention that the Hurricane Center, or not the hurricane, well that too, we'll get to that in a minute, but also the Storm Prediction Center has actually suggested the possibility of a 15% risk being issued here. We're going to go ahead and hop on over to that here. I still need to set up a bunch of my stuff, so I'm still not fully organized. Also, we got some new interesting things popping down here in the Caribbean. We'll get to that here in a minute, but let me bring up SPC because I want to see what they were talking about. We're going to get into models and everything like that here soon as well. Let's see here. We're going to pop on over here. Did I not? I guess I didn't add a SPC page here. Oh, well, we'll just work with what we got here. But if we go to 4 to 8 here, where is it? Did they mention that? They mentioned it earlier. I did see talking about a 15% risk being issued. I'm not about to read all that. Anyways, but we'll definitely keep it out there for it. It does seem like it's quite possible. Right now, it's considered predictability too low. There's still a little bit of disagreement with the models. We kind of need to wait just a couple more days, before those models really start, coming into agreement mode. Now, for the people who's wondering, like when is severe weather going to be happening? Well, the severe weather is expected to occur here starting on the 30th. We're going to get ourselves a low pressure system. Let's just go ahead and hop to the models at this point. I mean, we're just going to go ahead and get right on into it. So let's hop over here. We're going to get into the models. We're going to start off with the GFS here. Then we'll look at Euro in a minute because there is some similarities in the models to some degree overall. So we'll look at that. Let's see here. Can I go to the Pacific Ocean real quick, says Oliver? Yes, I can. Is there anything in interest? Oh, is it that area that you want me to look at? Here, we'll pull that up real quickly, and then we'll get into the models here, okay? But yeah, no, there is an area we're watching, another area. Of course, we have Christie. This thing was a Cat 5 at one point. Christie's dying out quick. It's really getting suffocated by a lot of dry air. What's up, J. Lorb? Doing good? Saying dog. Hope you're doing good, my friend. But obviously, what's up, everybody? If you guys are just tuning in here, hope you're doing good. Yeah, the Christie's dying. There's a few weird models that have it doing some interesting trajectory. But yeah, more than likely, or the system is going to start to shoot its way down to the southwest, but that storm's just going to die out. But we do have another area that we're watching here. We'll keep a close eye on it. We'll look at that in the models here as well in a minute, but let's go ahead and get back into that severe weather talk here. Anyways, so moving on back over here, if we take a look at the jet stream, this is our mid-level jet stream, you can see that we do have ourselves a trough, a big dip in the jet stream that is setting its way up here for the 30th. You can see up in the top right there for October 30th. So that is the day of severe weather. That is when we are expecting some severe weather to start to occur across places out there in the Central Plains. Like I said, maybe even extending its way in towards the Midwest. Could be a possibility. You know, some of the models like Euro, I believe it was Euro that really has that instability going a lot further up here to the north compared to like the GFS here. So for example, we're going to pull up the GFS's instability. This is basically the fuel for potential, thunderstorm activity and overall severe weather. Now you can see here for the October 30th commute, this is for kind of the afternoon, evening of October 30th. You can see that there's a pretty good pool of instability. You know, there is some instability in the atmosphere indicated in this kind of purplish pink colors here. The pink is representing more instability than the purple. So you can actually see that, some areas there towards the Midwest, towards the central southern plains could be involved in, the possibility of some, thunderstorm activity. Now, here's the thing. This is what really concerns me. We take a look at the lower level jet. So this is the jet stream at the lower portion of the atmosphere. Now, this is a very crucial ingredient for tornadoes. If the lower level jet is strong enough, there can be tornadoes. And if we take a look at the current GFS run, you can actually see here that this yellow is indicating 30 knots or greater. That is considered a decent lower level jet, in which that could influence the possibility for some tornadoes. You can see if we overlap the instability, so there's our instability, and there's our lower level jet. You can see that there's a good little area here towards like Oklahoma, maybe eastern Kansas, out there towards like Missouri that could be involved in some of that tornadic activity. We'll have to see. Taking a look at the the surface here, you can really see that northerly air advection, where we do have ourselves a lot of that moisture coming up from the Gulf, and that's just shooting its way into the country. Now that's going to be a big relief for some people because it has been astronomically dry in some of these regions out here. Actually, I have a friend in Missouri. He's been saying how dry it's been. I actually had somebody else in the chat the other day was telling me how at like southwestern Missouri, how like the ground was like crunchy whenever you would go out there and step into the grass. So it's really dry. And like I said, that's why we looked at the drought monitor a little bit ago. It's just incredibly dry. But we do have ourselves a bit of moisture starting to work its way up here. Like I mentioned, this is going to be that northerly advection here for the starting to set up here really for the 29th, but not really firing until like basically the 30th. Now, there is a possibility, it depends on how things go, there is a possibility that severe weather could extend maybe even into Halloween. As you can see here, this is for the 31st, and there might be just enough fuel for a bit of storm activity maybe towards Texas, portions towards Arkansas, maybe Louisiana. It is a possibility. The good news is that the jet stream is not as significant, meaning that the big day for like tornadic potential, that would likely be there for Wednesday, the 30th. Now, whenever it comes to, like, you can see that the jet stream does weaken quite a bit. So you can see here for the 30th how we do have a pretty strong jet stream, pretty strong lower level jet there. And you can see just how, as we approach our way into the 31st, how much it weakened. So that would be good news, probably calming down that tornado threat. But the thing is that it looks like that there might be that tornado possibility here for the 30th. If it's going to happen, it's going to be on Wednesday, the 30th out there, maybe towards, like I said, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, kind of the areas we're looking at right now. There could be some more, spread out. We'll just have to continue to monitor that. But But that is something I wanted to go ahead and mention with you guys. So, like I mentioned, if we hop on back here to the instability and stuff like that, we're going to have a good amount of instability. This model even suggests maybe some of that instability working its way up here. Not a lot at all, really. Hardly any at all to do anything. But, maybe some traces of instability going up higher towards, like, Iowa. I'm not really, we're just going to watch that, see how that materializes, but a lot of the instability here for the 30th is going to be positioned right towards, like I said, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, maybe towards, like, Arkansas and Louisiana. This is still long-range guidance, in which, long-range guidance is still fairly, a bit far out. I mean, we are talking, about 3 days at this point. I mean, because today's over with, so we can consider today almost the 27th, even though it was not, but we're closer to the 27th, which that would put us about 3 or 4 days away from the system here. So, here soon, tomorrow, we should start to get views of the NAM. Matter of fact, actually, yeah, we're starting to get some early looks at the NAM here now. This is where the model ends, but you can see as we approach our way into basically early morning of Wednesday, you can already see that instability starting to ramp up. So we're going to keep an eye on it. Tomorrow, like I mentioned, we're going to have a much better understanding in terms of, what we can expect out of this here. Once again, SPC, the Storm Prediction Center, has kind of held off from issuing a 15%. They did mention it earlier that it could be a possibility. So we will have to see how that plays out. But yeah, you can really see that moisture advection. I mean, at the point where we're at right now, there's a lot of dry air in the country. It's been very, very dry. You can see those dew points there in like the 30s, which is very, very low, very, representing a lot of drier air. And you can actually see as we approach our way into, the 29th, you can see all of that moisture start to lift from the Gulf there, supplying a lot of moisture. And of course, as we set up for severe weather on the 30th, you can see those dew points even get higher. So, moisture is not going to be a problem with this. There's going to be a fair amount of moisture. We take this to the GFS at this point. Going a little bit further, you can see that frontal interaction there. You can see that big separation between our low dew point and our high dew point values. There will possibly be maybe a line of storms firing off around this time here for the the late 30th, possibly continuing into the 31st. So we'll definitely have to see how that plays out. Jacob says, how bad is it going to be? So, as of right now, given like conditions and stuff like that, it doesn't seem like it's going to be like an outbreak or anything like that. No, but it does seem like that a couple widespread tornadoes could be a good possibility. Just given the fact that we do have a fairly strong lower level jet stream associated with a good amount of instability. All of that together could indicate the possibility for a bit of severe weather. We're gonna grab a sounding here. We're gonna hop to our full screen. Just to take a look at a sounding I grabbed here. There's a bit of a cap in our kind of lower mid levels there, but wind shear looks pretty good. Wind shear does look pretty good. Moisture looks pretty good as well. Let me try another sounding here. We're gonna actually grab another one towards like central. We'll grab one near OKC just to take a look and see what the GFS has to show us here. Yeah, this one looks a lot better. You can see that we do have some pretty strong wind shear, so basically, this, for the people who don't know what we're looking at here, this is what we call a sounding, which is basically a visual representation of what the atmosphere could be doing at a certain time frame. For example, this is for the kind of there for October 30th. This is for Wednesday, and this is at 21 Zulu. So that's kind of the afternoon, evening of Wednesday. We grabbed this towards Oklahoma City here, and you can see how. So this right here. Picture this as a vertical side of the atmosphere. So like you're taking a photo. This is ground, and then this is upper levels. So here at the surface, our winds are fairly, I wouldn't say weak, but they're lower, about 30 knots, and the winds are going to the northeast. So you can imagine lower level northeasterly winds. And as we go up in elevation, as we go higher up into the atmosphere, here's 12 kilometers. This is 9 kilometers, 15 kilometers, a little bit of representation of height there. The wind speed does increase, as well as there's a slight turn to the northeast as we go up in elevation. That turning motion, that veering is what we call it, is what can create a environment possibly for tornadoes. This in particular sounding right here doesn't look anything super concerning. It looks more of like a damaging wind kind of threat here. But given the environment that could be in place here for Wednesday, there could be some tornadic activity. So we'll definitely need to monitor that. Will the tornadoes be really bad? So given the fact that we have a lower level jet here of at least 30 knots could indicate some strong tornadoes. It's still a little early to say if we're going to have any significant tornadoes there. Overall, it still is a little bit early, but I really want to wait till that mid-range model activity starts to come through, like the NAM. Look at the lower level jet here. This is pretty wild according to the NAM here. But I do want to go and show you the instability. That's not really overlap too much right now. This is just because we're in early hours and everything's capped out because of that big temperature inversion this time of the day. But within the next run or two of NAM, by tomorrow, we're going to have a much better idea of what we can expect. Because at that point, we're going to have mid-range model support. So right now, we're kind of focused on those lower resolution models that are just lower resolution overall. Tomorrow is going to indicate the first runs of the mid-range models, which is a higher resolution. It takes more, more of those formulas into account overall. So we're going to learn a lot more tomorrow. And from what it looks like, the NAM is already trying to pull some instability up to the north. But once again, there's a big cap here at this hour. We'll just have to see how it plays out. I mean, if we take a look at the the dew points and stuff like that, you can already see that northerly air advection here. We're gonna change on back here, make it look a little bit better. But yeah, you can see how there's a lot of dry air up north. That's going to be quickly replaced with a bunch of moisture and warmer temperatures. As the system comes through, we're going to get a trough, basically a low pressure system swinging by, in which that's going to create a sharp boundary, sharp temperature boundary. Basically, we can actually show you guys that right now. If we take a look at the GFS here, you notice how there's a pretty steep boundary, so there's a lot of cold air coming from the north, pushing down to the south, and you have a lot of warm air coming from the south and pushing up to the north. So it's going to be fairly warmer across, and you can see that push of cold air. So that's another thing, is that after the storm here, after we basically go through this severe weather event, there is going to be a bit of colder air for some of these places here. And in fact, if we take a look at the temperature anomalies, you can actually see the red representing warmer conditions, than usual. You can actually see how that, ahead of that cold front, the cold front's right in here, temperatures are going to be warmer because of that moisture advection, because of all that warm air coming up from the Gulf. That is going to really allow for the possibility for just warmer conditions at the start, and then cooler conditions could build in behind. GFS doesn't really take it too serious, maybe slightly below, but you'll definitely notice a big difference in the temperatures. Before the storm hits and then after the storm hits, you're going to notice a big temperature shift. That's just how these cold front setups typically do work overall. Let's see here. LWX says daylight saving shouldn't exist. I agree. I do. It seems like now it's just more of a pain than anything, but I 100% agree. Overbuilt says, Andy, blessings, thanks for the weather updates. No problem. You're very, very welcome. Moon River says, thank you for another lesson. Anytime. Like I said, I'm glad to help out, and if there's any questions you guys might have through this, feel free to let me know. We're here to help y'all out, here to make sure that we get the information out there, but like I said, you can really see that we're going to be starting to set up for this storm here, as we start to get that low pressure system rotating counterclockwise, bringing down some cooler air from the north, in which that will actually in turn bring some warmer air up. So the Gulf is a very important factor with this right now, because there's going to be a lot of moisture coming from the Gulf, which is going to kind of shoot its way up into the country here, there overall. So we will definitely be covering this too. If this thing does turn out to be a a really strong event, then we will absolutely be live. Matter of fact, I still plan on going live for it either way, even if it's a marginal or slight risk. Once again, SPC, they did mention earlier that this thing could be a 15%, which is equivalent to a slight risk. They did mention that, in which, we'll just have to see how that plays out, and once just wait on some more model runs and stuff like that. Overall, let's see here. Yesterday they said we broke the record warmth for the day of October 25th. High was 87, and they said we passed a record that was set in 1973 when it got to 84. Wow, that's crazy. Could the Midwest get severe weather? So there's a possibility that some places in the Midwest could see some severe weather. Once again, we're kind of trying to iron out where exactly that severe weather is going to be. As of now, the areas of most likely severe possibilities seems to be like Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, and Missouri. Those are the most confident areas as of now. Could that expand? Absolutely. But we'll just have to see. Once again, we're still kind of stuck on the low resolution models, like I mentioned, the long range, lower resolution model runs, like the GFS and Euro. Like I said, here tomorrow, which we're already getting close to it, but tomorrow we're going to have more of like the mid-range models, like NAM and stuff like that. So we have the 0 Zulu run of the NAM coming out here. That'll add another 6 hours to the bunch. So that would put us to 12 Zulu on Wednesday for the next run, which is still not quite at the point of where when the severe weather is going to start, because we're expecting the severe weather to kind of start here for the evening of the 30th, which that would be Wednesday. And like I mentioned, it could even extend its way into the 31st, for Halloween. Areas that, we could see severe weather for Halloween. It could be out there towards, like, Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas, according to GFS. We're going to hop over to Euro now, ECMWF here. You can kind of see that Euro for the October 31st commute kind of agrees, where that instability could be, out there towards Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, maybe even further to the east there, just depends. But, yeah, look at this. You can see here for the afternoon of the 30th, most of our instability is going to be there towards Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, and Missouri, according to both the Euro and the GFS. So that is something we need to look out for. This stuff up here, there's no cap involved with this this view. This would likely be capped out very, very much. The stuff down here would probably be good to go regarding severe weather. We're going to continue to watch it and just monitor how that goes. But yeah, Euro does actually show some of that instability, maybe even making its way up there towards like the upper Midwest. We'll have to see. Once again, I really want that NAM to come out. I really want to start to see those mid-range and those eventually short-range models like HRRR to come out. Because at that point, we can kind of look at the event at a higher resolution, including more parameters to look at, and therefore will give us a better understanding overall. Right now, yes, both Euro and the GFS do agree on the fact that we could have a severe weather event here for, like I said, the 30th. So we'll definitely be monitoring that, and we'll definitely look at it. Let's see here. Peachy says, got this from today, SPC day 4 to 8. A severe threat will be possible across parts of mid-Missouri Valley as the air mass moistens and responds to a large-scale absent in relatively strong deep layer. So, yeah, so like we mentioned before here, we're going to have a lot of that strong, air advection. We're going to have that, let's see, pull apart dew point here. We're going to have a really strong push in moisture and in temperatures to the north. So you can see the time up there, that's for the 27th, that's tomorrow. But you can start to see that we're going to start pulling to the north here. Here's the 28th, and as we approach our way into the 30th, you can see that we're going to have a pretty good supply of moisture. Dew points are going to be in the 60s throughout portions of the severe weather risk areas, which that is, as you may or may not know, that's good. That's good for severe weather. Typically we do want 60s and above dew point wise. for severe weather events, and well, that's a check. Another thing is, of course, instability, which we do have. We do have some instability available to us. Depends on what model you look at, but both Euro and GFS agree on it, so we do have instability. And lastly, I mean, another really important thing is the wind shear. And like I said, according to the GFS here, we do have a pretty strong lower level jet here, about 30-40 knots in some spots, in which that, if all conditions are right, this is still not solid, but if that does play out, that could allow for maybe some strong tornadoes. Not just those weak ones, but maybe some strong ones. So I classified tornadoes in 3 different categories. We have weak, strong, and violent. Violent being like EF3 plus, strong being like EF1 to EF2, maybe EF3, and of course weak is like EF0, EF1. That's how I classify it. So when you hear me say violent, I mean like EF3 plus. But in this case, it's still a little hard to tell if we'll even see violent tornadoes. As of now, I'm gonna probably more towards strong tornadoes, kind of maybe in the range of EF1 to EF2. We'll have to just see. Well, like I said, it's still a little early to look at that much in depth here as of right now, but it is a possibility that we could have some strong tornadoes. I do believe so. Also, let me pull up Euro's perspective here on that jet. So here's the lower level jet according to Euro, and if you look closely, there's not much difference at all. I mean, they are nearly identical. Look at that. So GFS there shows good 40 knot lower level jet stream. This is 850 millibar height. So I think that's like what? How high? Hold on, I keep on. I used to know this by memory, but I think the height of 850 millibar is like 5,000 feet. Let's see. Let me look it up real quickly. I believe it's around 5,000 feet. Yep, got it. 4,500 to 5,000, nailed it. So yeah, that's around 5,000 feet up. Overall, according to those, the winds that we're looking at right here, which once again is a very important, crucial role for tornadoes. Absolutely. So yeah, GFS does show over 40 knots, which that is pretty strong. And we look over the Euro, and once again, there's like not much changes at all. As a matter of fact, the Euro actually has that lower level jet a bit stronger than the GFS does. But so there still is a lot of things that we need to learn about. We'll definitely just keep an eye on it. It definitely looks like a decent setup here. It definitely does. Once again, if we take a look at the dew points and stuff like that, you can see that there's obviously a really sharp boundary here. That's where your cold front's at. We have that northerly air advection, all of that moisture coming from the Gulf, bringing that supply of water vapor to the states. Like I mentioned, it's been very, very dry across the country for a long time, in which this is going to be bringing up a lot of that water vapor, a lot of that moisture, which is going to supply those storms with fuel. And then, like I mentioned here regarding the instability, on top of that, which is what the storms need, they need unstable air plus moisture in order to convect, in which the moisture here the instability here indicated by the GFS does show not an astronomically large amount, but it does show enough, especially since we have such strong winds, like the models we're talking about, showing those upper level winds being very, very strong. That kind of makes up for it a little bit. If you have low instability but high wind shear, sometimes you can get stuff done with even low instability. And that's kind of what this case is looking like. So that's what I'm saying. I do think that we could be in for some decent severe weather here whenever it comes to Wednesday. Once again, Wednesday, October 30th is the day that severe weather seems to start. And once again, this could carry on into the 31st potentially. You can see here for the late 31st, there might be some storms towards like Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas for Halloween, maybe. We'll have to see. Euro also agrees with that instability being in that area, so we'll have to keep an eye on it. Is it in Florida? No, this is not going to be a threat for Florida, at least as of now. I don't think it ever will be a threat for Florida. This is more of a concern for the southern Central Plains in the Midwest. That's kind of where the activity is expected to be the greatest overall. Let's see here. Andrew, I found where you saw the 15% chance for severe weather. Note, severe weather area depicted on a 4 to 8 period indicated 15 to 30 or higher probability for thunderstorm development in 25. What? Where'd you see that at? That was on here. Where did you see that? Oh, you're looking here. Now, this is not the forecast. This part you're looking at, this is just kind of showing an example. No, this can't see it. This all down here is what you got to read. This is what changes. That's stationary. That's always been there. Let's see here. But anyways, yeah, no, they did say that there is a possibility though for 15% chance earlier for severe weather. So that is a possibility. You know, they did say that there's still a bit of uncertainty, which there is why they're holding off from issuing a 15%. But you know, hopefully tomorrow, as we start to get more information, you know, starting with the mid-range models, like I said, right now we're kind of focused on long range. You know, all the models we got right now is like GFS and Euro, the long range models right now. You know, because this is about 4 days out at this point. Tomorrow we will be in the realm of right around, like I said, the mid-range models, like the NAM will start to become available. Then, of course, like the day before, then we have like the HRRR, which is like the main one, you know, the main short-range one that we have, and like NAM 3K and whatever. So, yeah, tomorrow will be a better day. Tomorrow will be a better day overall. Let's see here. I don't use the CFS model, says Brendan. I don't really use it for severe weather. CFS is, I use it more for climate, is what it's really meant for. I really don't use it for forecasting severe weather because, yeah, CFS is climate forecasting, which you can see is very low resolution, which shouldn't really be used for forecasting like short-range events. Like I said, the reason that this model goes so far out is the fact that, you know, it's a climate model, and you can see the GFS even is much more higher resolution than that, and Euro is actually a bit more higher resolution than GFS, it looks like. But, you know, tomorrow, once we get NAM, this is NAM here, we'll start to get, see, it's still a little early. We're kind of grabbing the morning of Wednesday. We need to see the evening of Wednesday. So, but yeah, so we'll definitely keep you guys posted on that. And once again, I do plan on going live with y'all for that here. We are going to hop on over here, y'all, to the tropics for a minute. Okay, so if you take a look here at the tropics, so this is something that I wanted to talk about, a little bit off topic from that severe weather we just talked about. We'll get back into that here in a minute. But we got a severe, an area here of watch, according to the Hurricane Center. We have an area of interest, AOI here into the Caribbean. Now, this is a storm that we've been monitoring. If you guys have been following along on the channel, we've been talking about this here for the last couple of days. There is a possibility for tropical development. Matter of fact, we're going to pull up the NHC's page here. Once again, I haven't really had time to fully finish my layout, my new layout here. But let's hop over to the tropics real quickly. Once again, this is still a little, you guys can see it's not fully the screen yet. We'll get that fixed here. But take a look at the 7-day graphical. We do have a chance for development. Let's zoom in a bit so you guys can read that a little bit better. So you can see the bottom there, formation chance through 48 hours. So we're not expecting anything to happen within the next 2 days. You know, next 48 hours, we're not expecting any tropical development. However, throughout the next 7 days, so throughout the next week, basically up to a week from now, we are having a low chance for development, 20% chance. A broad area of low pressure is likely to develop over the southwestern Caribbean Sea around middle of next week. Some gradual development of the system will be possible at the end of the next week, while it meanders or drifts northeastward over the southwestern Caribbean Sea. So that's going to lead us over to the tropical models. I say tropical models, but this is a tropical page that we're using, the same models. This is GFS. So GFS here, take this with a grain of salt, by the way. This is still really early, okay? But yeah, GFS has this weird, funky track. Yeah, forecasting a track like that is impossible at this range. So yeah, don't trust that GFS run too much. That's just kind of wonky. But GFS does show a tropical cyclone potentially developing into the Caribbean, maybe working its way towards like Haiti, Dominican Republic, maybe towards Cuba, potentially even. We'll have to watch out for that. Euro, I don't think really picks up on it that much. Yeah, Euro really doesn't, although CMC does. You can see here as we approach our way towards the end of CMC. CMC does pick up on that system here for like early November. So that could be a potential concern for the Caribbean islands out there. As of now, no need for full-on prep or no need for buying out stores or anything like that. It's still too early to tell exactly what it's going to do, how strong it's going to be, where it's going to go. All that's unknown. But right now we are watching the potential for that to become a storm. But guidance at this point in time is still. Let's hop over here to the. Still a little bit iffy. You can actually see here as we approach our way into November 1st and 2nd, we start to grow a lot of support here towards the Caribbean. So we get that area of low that develops there. And according to the ensembles, some of them go towards the Gulf. Some of them just trail into the Caribbean. As you can tell, there is a big difference. Okay, so there's definitely a big difference with a lot of these ensembles. Hopping down to the GEFS run. Oh, sorry, that was GEFS. GEPS, what we're looking at now. Yeah, kind of all over the place here. We'll have to just monitor that. It's still a little far out. EPS here, all over the place. It's just, yeah, once again, too early to tell regarding any of that. Let's see here. What's up? Virgo saying, hey, Andrew, or hey, NW16. I was looking at 2011 tornado percentage, 45%. That's got to be the highest tornado of all time. All right. Percentage-wise, I believe so. The risk can go higher. Don't quote me on this, but I do think that 45% is the maximum that's ever been issued for. Because I think it goes up to 60, if I'm not mistaken, the probability. But I don't think we've ever achieved 60%. I think 45 is the biggest we've had. Let's see. Peachy says, wasn't one of the models for Milton or Helene made it a tropical depression? I don't remember. But, yeah. Some of the models are all over the place. That's always going to be a thing. Catlo says, evening. Oh, what's up? Hope you're doing good. Owen says, is there a threat for Wisconsin? I saw some rain in the forecast for 4 days. So, I think Wisconsin will be fine. We're going to hop back to severe weather talk now, guys. I just wanted to mention the tropics, because we got that little possibility out there. But regarding the severe weather, some of the models show maybe some mild instability, maybe some pockets of instability making its way out there. It's hard to tell if there's going to be no thunderstorms at all or small thunderstorms. Regardless, nothing really big is really expected for Wisconsin, regarding like severe weather. However, due to the fact that there is some instability and a source of lift, there could be maybe a couple thunderstorms, maybe some weak thunderstorms. Don't fully count on that right now, because there still is a lot of things we need to learn. And plus, like I said, this is long range guidance. Wait till we get like HRRR and like the short and mid range guidance here. Then we'll be able to tell better. There's a little bit of instability pocketing up there as far north as Wisconsin, but we'll have to see. The main concern, y'all, is going to be down here towards like Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, possibly even towards like Arkansas, Louisiana. We'll have to see how that plays out. But yeah, those are the main areas. But and I wouldn't count on severe weather. Even if you did get some storms, it wouldn't likely be anything significant due to the fact that we don't have much instability as of now. So we'll see. But one thing that we can look is you're going to notice quite a difference in the temperatures and the overall humidity. As you can see, the point where we're at now, our dew point is like critically low. We are like in the 10s to the 20s regarding our dew point values, which that is very low, representing a big differential. If we take a look at the temperature, you can see that the temps are 50s or so. Since there's such a big dew point depression, a big gap between your temperature and your dew point, that's going to really lower that humidity. In which, yeah, it's very, 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 very dry out there. Now, what this storm is going to do is it's going to start to advect a lot of moisture, and you're going to notice that those dew points are going to be, or sorry, the humidity values are going to be rising. The dew points will be rising too. So yeah, you're definitely going to notice a change thermodynamically in terms of temperatures, but in terms of the severe weather potential, it's a little early to tell. But we'll keep you guys posted. We'll definitely keep you posted. And once again, if it changes, say somehow there is a magical way that we can get severe weather up there, we'll let you know. Okay? Let's see here. What's up, Catloaf? Hope you're doing good. I don't know if I already said that or not. But anyways, yeah, so, we'll keep you guys posted on everything. And, like I mentioned here, all the ingredients are coming in place here. We're going to have ourselves a pretty strong lower level jet associated with that low that's coming through, which, that's going to create the possibility for some tornadoes. And you can see that big trough, that big dip in the jet stream as we approach our way here for the 30th. That low is going to be increasing that wind shear, which is going to, allow for more moisture to come up into the country. The stronger winds kind of vacuums and sucks up all of that moisture to the north. It vects it to the north, which that's kind of what's going to be happening here. So we're going to have a lot of moisture coming up. We're going to have a lot of strong winds going by. And those ingredients mixed together gives you thunderstorms. And in considering the fact that, we have a pretty aggressive lower level jet at the time being for severe weather. I mean, we're talking like 40 knot lower level jet. That could support some strong tornadic activity, unfortunately. So we're gonna really need to watch that closely. Let's see here. I saw models about possible severe weather on the 3rd. I saw that, but that's a little far out to forecast. I don't like looking that far. I know there's a lot of people who really, live by looking that far, which I don't think is really right because, so much changes that far out. For now, let's focus on late October for the 30th and stuff because, that's in reasonable range of forecasting. Unlike, November, was it the 4th or the 3rd? That's still, several days away. So there's a lot of things, as you can imagine, that could change. But you can see here, like GFS, once again, here's our lower level jet here, according to GFS. Look how similar it is to Euro. They are nearly identical regarding that jet stream and everything like that. So I tell you what, man, models, at least kinematically, are looking pretty similar. That's great news. Not good the fact that we're getting, really nasty potential here, but good in the terms that we have better agreement, so we kind of understand a little bit better. Instability, though, regarding, like the unstable air, as you can see here in the purple, representing, the more instability, more fuel for those thunderstorms. It's a little bit different. You can see some of the models have more instability and higher values than others. As you can see here, GFS shows this is for the evening of October 30th. This is the latest. Sorry, this is the 12 Zulu. That's the 18 Zulu. I don't know why that changed to the 12 Zulu. Here's the 18 Zulu, but still, not really much has changed, to be honest with you. Still basically the same. But as we approach our way into the evening here of October 30th, you can see that we do have a good amount of instability out there towards, like I said, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana. Potentially, there's very low instability out there, but, GFS is not the best at picking up on low or localized things like that. GFS is better for the big picture, for the macro scale, the big picture. While these other models like NAM and HRRR, those are better for the micro scale, the smaller picture. So once we get more of that micro scale view, so as we get closer to the event, and as the short range models pick up on it, like once again HRRR, RAP, and then of course mid range models starting tomorrow, like the NAM. We'll get NAM tomorrow. This time tomorrow we'll have a couple NAM runs available to us in order to show us what we could potentially see at a higher resolution. Do I think the Halloween and Dallas area will tornadoes be really bad? So like I mentioned, the main day for tornadoes is going to be the 30th. Severe weather could continue into the 31st, as there is still instability available, and there still is moisture. If we take a look at the dew point temp, you can still see that there is some pretty rich moisture, actually higher, upper 80s, or upper 60s, sorry, near 70 dew points. That is a lot of moisture. And like I mentioned, there is still some uncapped instability, allowing for the potential for some of those storms to fire off there. It's like I said, it's looking pretty good for maybe an extension of severe weather into the 31st. Tornado-wise, though, let's grab a sounding, because I don't think the wind shear, the winds in the atmosphere would support it. So according to this, our wind shear is fairly weak here for the 31st. Here for Halloween, the winds are pretty weak. So in an event like this would just be more of like a damaging wind concern, maybe some gusty winds associated with thunderstorms, rather than tornadic thunderstorms. This is for the 31st. Remember, the 30th is a different story, because that's where we have our stronger lower level jet. That's where our winds in the atmosphere are a lot stronger, which is going to give us more of that tornado threat, especially that lower level dynamics like we were talking about here, showing that our jet stream is going to be in the range of around 30, maybe 40 knots. That is going to be supportive for these tornadoes. And even 40 knot winds, lower level winds like that could support some strong tornadoes. It really could. Another thing I want to look at is relative helicity. That takes basically some of that shear into consideration. SRH values of 200 or greater, pretty good for decent tornadic activity. And if all plays out the way that things are looking, SRH is up there in the 200, 300 range, which that would put us into some decent tornadic activity based off of shear. And once again, instability in this event's not the highest per se, but it's enough to get things going. Typically this time of the year, we call this second spring or the second severe weather season, because we start introducing that cold air back into the country, as we're starting to get some more cold air coming from the north, from Canada, pushing to the south. That's what's going to really initiate that thermodynamic differential there on the surface, that cold front. So, yeah. That's just, we're just going to keep an eye on it. Once again, once we start getting those mid-range models and stuff like that, we'll keep you guys posted. Let's see here. But anyways, welcome back, Tornado Wrangler. I'm doing good. Let's see here. Thank you, Peachy. I appreciate that. Appreciate it. Let's see. What's up, Jack? Hope you're doing good. Yeah, like I said, guys, if y'all have any questions in the chat, feel free to let us know. We're here for you. We want to help you guys out. Once again, thank you all for joining us. And if you haven't already, consider leaving a like, hitting that subscribe button. Be much, much appreciated. Like I said, this is going to be the next event that we're looking at here. This is the next thing we're looking at here regarding, activity. Here's our dew point here. You can see the dew points. It's actually 850 millibar dew points. Let's pull up our surface dew points here. In which, like I said, you can see that northerly advection. You get that movement of all that moisture, all of that water vapor starts pulling its way up into the country, increasing the water vapor content in an air parcel, which we're basically just take that as just the air, basically. So increasing water vapor, and you can see that we're going to be increasing our moisture supply. Dew points are going to go up. Then at the same time, let me bring up my pen here so I can draw with the pen, and I can kind of map things out a little bit better. Okay, so I need to relaunch my pen here because for some reason it's broken. Sometimes it needs a hard reboot. Go and bring up our pen here. Give that a second. Let's see here. Tornado says would not be shocked if they actually add a 15%. Shows a good solid severe weather threat. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either. And actually, the SPC did talk about that. There's just a little bit of uncertainty, so they didn't. But there's a good shot that it could. Now, what I was talking about here is, like I said, we have that northerly advection. We have all of that that warm air, that moisture-filled air shooting its way up and kind of uppercutting the country here. You know, that's going to increase our temperatures, increase our humidity, our overall water vapor, which is needed for those storms. You know, you need a lot of moisture. And of course, you got the cooler air. You know, first of all, you have a low pressure system, which is kind of stirring all this up. We got ourselves a low, which these things spin counterclockwise. So you can imagine it's kind of churning up the atmosphere, and it's, you know, and because of that, it's actually pulling up moisture. And as you imagine, it does the opposite on the other side. So on the other side here, we actually have the cooler air that comes down into the country, cooler and drier air from Canada. And of course, you know, where that air mass separates, which would be right in here, that is where your cold front would be. And of course, you know, that would be right around where those storms do fire overall. So not only is it a difference in moisture, but it's also a big, you know, difference in the temperature too. You know, over on the cooler side, it's much drier, more air coming up from Canada coming down, and on this side here, it's you know, it's pulling north, and it's more moisture filled and higher temperatures. But yeah, so that's right around where the storms would be firing off, dude. That's for the kind of the afternoon here of the 30th. And of course, as we continue to push through, you can see that cold front advancing to the southeast here. It kind of stalls out as we approach our way into the 30th, or sorry, the 31st there. It is a possibility that we could have an extension for severe weather for the 31st as well. So Halloween, there could be some severe storms, but the big stuff, at least from what we're looking at as of now, the big event is going to be for the 30th of, so Wednesday. So therefore next Wednesday. Is kind of whenever we are expecting the heaviest of the activity overall. Let's see here, like number 60. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank y'all. Once again, if you haven't already, consider leaving a like, hitting that subscribe button. Be greatly appreciated. Like I said, it would mean a lot to me if you guys could. So thank y'all. But yeah, you can really see that push there. That's the cooler air. Starting to press against that warmer air advection. That's where, you know, you start to get that lift, that vertical wind shear that increases, and which, you know, gives those storms a good initiation, a good little jump start. You know, and at the same time, like we mentioned before here, basically for, you know, the late 30th, as you can tell, there's a lot of moisture. There's a lot of moisture present. And if we take a look at the lower level winds, you know, there is pretty solid amount of lower level shear here. You know, once again, you can see that, you know, we are in a realm of a good 40 knots or so in some of those regions. If we overlap the instability, you know, there is that unstable air that is present in some of those regions there. You know, of course, other things like SRH here, over 200, some spots a little higher. You know, all of those ingredients that come together there would give you a potential tornadic event overall. So we'll definitely need to watch it. Let's see. I thought stream would have been done. Yeah, usually they're pretty short, but Legacy, we actually have something to talk about today. Holy cow! But yeah, I mean, yeah, those other streams were just like a quick little tropical update, but now we actually got something for the states that we need to look at. Plus, like I mentioned, also that tropical AOI, area of interest, that we're watching here too in the Caribbean now, which you can see on the backdrop on my monitor right there, which I could literally just do this and show you. Yeah, so got this little area out here in the Caribbean that we're watching. We don't know where it's going to go. We don't know how strong it's going to be. We just know that there is a potential for tropical development here sometime, like, I think late next week. So some models have it going this way, some models have it going that way. That's why I can just tell you we cannot tell where it's going to go right now. It's just too soon. Way too soon to talk about the tropics with this, but we'll watch it. And of course, but yeah, the main thing here that we're looking at is severe weather potential, which we're going to hop on back to the models again. And like I mentioned, hopping back over here to the jet stream, once again, we have a pretty strong lower level jet, which is a critical component for tornadoes. And if it's strong enough, not the only thing that associates with tornadoes, but it's one of the big factors that's needed for tornadoes to happen. Our lower level jet here, in this case, like we were talking about, we get 40 knots. You can see those little 40 knot wind barbs there. And of course, if we take a look at the Euro, there's really not much of a difference. Maybe it altered a little bit to the southeast here, but really, that could just be a timing difference there, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, those lower level winds are ripping. They are ripping. Would this be an outbreak? It's hard to tell. From what we're looking at now, I don't... like I said, it's just hard to tell. I can't tell you yes or no, to be honest with you. It does look like a decent setup. I will say that. Once again, the wind shear is there. We have really strong winds in the atmosphere. The only downside that I see as a limitation to this storm here is instability. Even then, you can kind of see that some of the models, not a whole lot according to Euro, but like GFS does show some pockets potentially up in the 800s, closer to 1,000 in some spots. But also, I mean, for this time of the year, you don't need as much instability, typically because you have stronger wind shear. Because, as the Earth tilts, as we start to go, as the axis tilts and as we get more indirect from the sun's light, we start to get closer to the north, if that makes sense. Therefore, we get more of these pressure systems. That's why, during the summertime, we don't see as many. Is because of the fact that, we are much more direct towards the sun. We're closer to the equator. And of course, as we tilt back, as we pull back away from the sun, as, sunlight becomes more indirect, things cool down. But also we get closer to, more of the, more of those pressure systems and more just systems in general. And that kind of contributes to these setups here. Like you need... that's why these setups usually have where you start getting those cold fronts. You start getting the squall line. This is squall line season here. This is usually like because the winds are stronger because of more of those systems that are. How am I'm trying to explain this in a way. So the winds in this time of the year can be strong, and even if you have a low instability field. So if you have low instability and you have strong wind shear, it can work. And that's why, second season activity can sometimes still be pretty significant, is, even with a low instability setup overall. Hopefully that makes sense. It's kind of hard for me to explain what I'm trying to say, but will this be heading to Tennessee? Unlikely, honestly. It looks like a lot of it dies just before we reach Tennessee. I mean, I can't tell you for sure because, some of the models, we're still a little bit far away from that point, but it doesn't look like Tennessee is going to be much of a concern. This threat seems to be mostly a concern for like Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, and Missouri as of now, but I'm waiting to get more mid-range models. Like I said, I'm waiting to get like NAM, and eventually HRRR, which is short range. But, for right now, we're looking at the low-resolution, long-range models. Tomorrow, we'll have some of the mid-range models overall. Let's see. Misty says, severe weather outbreak. So, maybe, like I said, it's hard to tell right now. It does look like a good setup. I will say that. Given the fact that we do have a pretty strong lower-level jet. On top of that, some instability. Could even be higher. I have noticed a lot of times that the long-range models don't show as much instability as there is, if that makes sense. So sometimes once those mid-range models come through, you notice that there's more instability because it looks at it more in a fine scale. So who knows? There could be more instability than what's listed here. That's still a part of the unknown. The lower level jet, like I said, the kinematics though, they look pretty good. I mean, GFS, the American model, and if you look at Euro, they're not that different. They are pretty darn close to looking like each other. And of course, moisture, which is another very important, very crucial step here for severe weather. That's not an issue at all. Right now it's very dry across the country, but that's going to be replaced by that northerly air advection that we're seeing here. A lot of that moisture increasing, our water vapor content, which is needed, which is very much needed for thunderstorms and just rain and stuff like that in general. So yeah, that will be changing. You can see. I don't know why that grab is sounding. I didn't even hold that down. So from now you can see there's a lot of low dew points, a lot of dry air, and as we approach our way here down in time, we get that northerly advection, that northerly movement, bringing up a lot of that. Actually, let's do this in red. Bringing up a lot of that warm air and a lot of that moisture along with it. Then, of course, on the backside, you got that cooler, more drier air that comes down. So that's a big thermodynamic gradient, a big temperature differential, which that's your cold front. That's where cold fronts come along. And then that cold front's going to be kind of wedging, kind of acting like you can kind of see here. So picture this as like a side view of the atmosphere. So the cold air is coming in at like an angle like this. And so what ends up happening is that warm air kind of ramps off of the cold air that's being pushed and forces the air to go up. So that is our, that's our source of lift, is the cold front itself. So, storms should be swept up and should start to fire off potentially on that cold front there. So we'll have to see. Let's see. I like the new. Thank you. I appreciate that, Team Kenny. But anyways, everybody. Well, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up here pretty soon. We are over an hour here of streaming. Just wanted to do an update for you guys. Once again, tomorrow we'll have a much better understanding, a much better update for you guys. I do plan on covering this when it comes to the point. So I will be live here to cover that. If you would be interested in that, consider leaving a like and subscribing if you haven't already. And most importantly, sharing this with your friends and your family. Just spread the channel. So, send the channel to them. Tell them they'll subscribe. It would be much appreciated, y'all. And but yeah, if you guys have any questions before I roll off here, feel free to throw them down in the chat. Once again, a big thank you goes to Chris earlier for the $5 super chat. I appreciate that, my friend. Thank you so much. It's much appreciated for your support. Definitely helps me out a bunch. So thank you so much, Chris. Once again, if you're still here, man, thank you. Let's see here. Thanks for your update, Andrew. You're very welcome, Peachy. No problem. Good night, Sonia. Hope you're doing good. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your night. Hopefully I said your name right. Let's see. Arlen says we could sure use the rain here in northeast Georgia. No rain since the hurricane. Yeah, it's been very dry. Not just across, your area, but a lot of the country. It's been pretty darn dry across a lot of places. You're welcome, Kath. No problem. See you later, Lake Effect. But all right, everybody, thanks for joining. Stream's going to end here in approximately 2 minutes. So if you guys want to go ahead and say your final goodbyes to your friends, your family, anybody you're hanging out with in the chat, go ahead and say your final goodbyes. And all right, everybody. Well, thank you so much once again for joining. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your night. If you haven't already, once again, hit that subscribe button on your way out. Leave a like and share this if you guys could. And tomorrow we'll be live again for you guys to do another update. Once again, we'll have mid-range model support tomorrow, so we will be able to help you guys out a little bit more in terms of, more of a better understanding and stuff like that. But all right, everybody, thanks for joining. You guys have a wonderful rest of your night, and we'll catch you tomorrow. Peace out, my friends. See you then.